Turkey is in economic turmoil. People are queuing for bread, cutting back on meat, and are even fleeing to other countries. Why? Inflation.
The Turkish economy is a mess. Runaway inflation and a collapsing lira are pushing millions of Turks into a financial ruin and causing a chaos in the country's factories, farmers and retailers. According to a survey conducted by NAYLI Social Research Center in 2022, over 2/3 of Turkish citizens are suffering to pay for their food and rent. In this case study, we will investigate the cause and impact of the financial crisis towards the Turkey. We will also figure out the solution to overcome it and discuss the current situation of Turkey's economic and financial situation.
I will continue with my part, which is the causes of Turkey economic crisis. The crisis was participated by Turkey's huge current account deficit and massive total of private foreign currency dominated debt, linked with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's unconventional interest rate policies, ideas and rising authoritarianism. The arrest of American Ambassador Andrew Branson on espionage charges following the failed 2016 Turkish coup attempt, the Trump administration placed additional penalty on Turkey. Result of the economic penalty, Turkey's tariff have been raised, with import of steel increases by 50% and aluminium increased by 20%. As a result, Turkish steel was sold outside the US market, which initially accounted for 13% of total Turkish steel export. Second causes is stagflation happened due to the inflation rate showing a double in the digit. The crisis marked the ending of Erdogan's government's development of an economy that happened too fast, but it has been led by debt from out-of-state government spending and low interest rate. He reduced interest rate from 90% to 40% during the COVID-19 epidemic that happened in 2020 and 2021, where it all started with currency starting to decrease and the currency of Turkey lira lost 44% from the value during the year of 2021. Last causes is when Mr. Erdogan's on decreasing interest rate in the face of soaring inflation. This is the exact opposite strategy that economists universally advocate. The prescription was rejected by Mr. Erdogan, who has governed Turkey for 18 years. But he insisted on keeping interest rate low even though inflation threatened to derive Turkey's economic worsens. In general, investor and other depends on the country's central bank to set interest rate as well as controlling inflation. A record low of 14.3 liras to the dollar was reached on Monday, down from around 7 earlier this year. Due to the scarcity, people are having difficulty in purchasing food and fuel. The young jobless rate is 25%, the president's popularity is downsliding, and his directors are growing increasingly vocal.
Next, I will continue on the solution taken by the government. As the economy of Turkey is becoming worse, the government is trying to cope this by applying several actions with the intent to lower the effect and restore market confidence in Turkey's economy. The action taken is a new economic program aimed at a significant decline in growth and a reduction in government spending. Here is a graph that shows the government prediction in GDP growth as a part of stabilization approach. Under new economic programs, the government put on hold investment plan in which the contract process has not yet begun and has been finished in an effort to cut back on public spending. The government has thus far implemented policies to decrease public spending, increase saving, and calm volatility in order to rebalance the growth. Not only that, the government also tried to make loan restructuring. As to help their businesses in their countries, the government tries to help by making an agreement for loan restructuring which was reached by Turkey Bank and financial institutions to assist companies which has trouble paying their debts. The government mainly has to pay over 4.3 billion, with the remaining covered by public sector entities. Lastly, the new economic program also aims to combat inflation. The central bank increased interest rate by 6.25% in an effort to fight double-digit inflation and provide the lira of law. This resulting in Turkey currency having gained slightly following the action by the central banks. By this, there will be a sharp increase in unemployment along with runaway inflation and currency devaluations. As a new economic program is implemented, the unemployment rate is expected to be 10.8% unemployment in 2021.
Now I'll be presenting on the impact of the Turkey economic crisis. For the first impact, since Turkey they are on a huge debts, they suffer an increase in number of foreign trade deficits, where it already reached $8 billion in average for a month. It is due to the sharp rise in the global energy prices, followed by the Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And also with the pandemic COVID-19, it leads Turkey in having debt for about $182.4 billion when it needed to be paid in a year, and the economy of Turkey need at least $220 billion for them to stay alive. Next, moving on to the second impacts. Since they suffered with stagflations, it gave an impact in the economy in terms of price of goods and services, where it is being sold at a higher price. The one who suffered from it was the citizens of Turkey, where on that time, most of them are on stage of bankruptcy. They struggle to pay for their necessities of food and energy as consumer goods price rise and wage income fall. And those that cannot support their family would probably lead to the mental health concerns. Citizens may fall into poverty with the lira decreasing rate, and most of them would probably rely on the loans. For the third impact, with the interest rate decreasing, the negative impact that Turkey suffered was the currency become more accelerated and they experience inflation. Central Bank of Turkey has been forced to sell the foreign reserve to support lira on the next day, and due to this, things that brought in from overseas, it cost even more when the currency lost value. Since Turkey economy relies on the imported goods such as raw materials, goods and energy, it is putting an outward pressure on the consumer prices. It leads to the inflation hovering to 20% and also will affect the income inequality and affect the import product with increasing in prices because of the weaker currency suffered by the Turkey.
In the third quarter of 2022, Turkey's GDP is anticipated to increase by 4%, and overall in 2022 it expanded by 5%. Even though Turkey had a massive blow when the COVID-19 happened, but Turkey's economy recovered quickly from the COVID-19 pandemic, expanding by 11.4% in 2021. It expanded by 7.5% in the first quarter and 7.6% in the second quarter, maintaining its hot streak on the back of robust household consumption and exports. Next, Turkey created the Turkey economic model, aiming to sustain macroeconomic, financial and pricing stability at the same time. Also to stimulate high value added manufacturing, to transform supply chain changes into opportunities, and also to permanently resolve the current account deficit problem. Due to the model, Turkey's economic status has improved drastically, and the mixture of growth also demonstrates a balanced outlook. Hence, Turkey has recorded as the fastest developing country to achieve the highest growth rate in the last 50 years, with a GDP growth of 11.4% in the 2021. In addition, Turkey expects to consistently enhance the current account balance in the medium and long term. Aside from the investments in renewables, the country seeks to minimize foreign reliance on energy, as well as the impact on the current account balance and excellent financing demands. It also offered an 80% subsidy for residential natural gas and a 50% subsidy for household electricity. Their goal is to expand this assistance to 4 million households.
In conclusion, the Turkey economy is in ruins. The Turkey economic crisis has given significant impact to the countries as it affects the economic downtown with extremely high risk of inflation. Moreover, the crisis continued to be worse in 2021 as the COVID-19 pandemic affects all countries around the world. The government has adopted a variety of economic measures, and all of the government policies mainly attempt to enhance economic activity and keep the banking industry financially healthy. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.
Magic in the